Hey everybody, Michelle is here. I hope everybody's doing well. I've been really, really busy on certain projects around the house, so I hadn't had a chance to do the normal amount of videos I usually do. I usually do quite a bit, I think, in a day. But uh, but anyway, so I just want everyone to pay attention to what's going on in the airway. You know, with everybody talking and rambling and carrying on about certain things. Um, and you just have to be, like I said, you have to think for yourself. And a lot of people do not. Sometimes they always rely on other people to be thinking for them and making decisions based on what other people do and say. And that's fine, if you are confident in that person and you support this person is being honest and genuine and walking the talk. But at the same time, you will always have people coming in and countering when it affects their bottom line. Okay. So, what I mean by that, a lot of people rely on fees to exist, and fees for they rely on fees, they rely on tolls, they rely on a lot of unconscious releasing of our money to certain things. So, like I said, so now everyone's talking about this gun or this weapons situation where uh, look, in my experience, with all of this paperwork and garbage to me, all right, it's garbage to me, and these are my theories and opinions about this, about all these laws and amendments and ordinance. A lot of it is just a bunch of shuffling of paperwork, and a lot of it has no clear, effective meaning to them. Okay, they're very confusing, and what it does is it always adversely affect people that are law abiding, always. And which usually are the elderly, um, you know, and like my father. My father was always law abiding to the best of his ability, and so, and then a whole lot of people in black culture, I should say. That's what I'm familiar with. There were always law abiding people there. Like I said, we rarely saw police officers in our neighborhood. We rarely called police officers to come into our neighborhoods. So, everything to me is always about the bottom line. It's all about collecting money from people for this and that and the other. Okay, is real is it, to me is with fear tactics, you know, telling people they need to go stand in line forever for this and that and the other, especially if you have to go to a government facility. You're standing in line forever. If you call them, you're on the phone forever. So a lot of it is just a lot of recycling bullshit, in my opinion. And it's just to keep a certain amount of income coming in on a monthly basis from these people, you know, which are, like I said, which are usually law abiding citizens that do not use a lot of these services, have no need for a lot of these services, but yet they are always adversely affected by it. Like I said, these weapons, most people who are law abiding, yeah, they know that they need to be trained on guns. They know that they need to be trained on weapons and this and that and the other. But there's always, like I said, they used to call it red tape. But they do that. They have people going in these circles of confusion and intentional overwhelm for a reason. You know, where people are taking up all their time on the phone, waiting in line. Like if you have to go to the post office, if you have to go to the bank, if you have to go to DMV, you know, there's always an inconvenience to that. And so, like I said, you just have to think for yourself and decide, what's the relative, is it relevant to have a certain amount of stuff, you know, and you know, because it's going to get really difficult for people just to make ends meet, because with the homeowners insurance, car insurance, so it's just going to be virtually, like I said, virtually and just impossible for a lot of people to remain in their homes, to have transportation. You know, I don't think there's an issue with food. I think we have plenty of food to eat. It's just a lot of it is just not very, not popular foods that are at some of these food banks. You know, some of that food in there is just not popular. A lot of people are not going to eat canned foods. You know, it's very rare. A lot of people like this fast food stuff. Like something that's quick to prepare. So we're just gonna have to think for ourselves and and know anytime it's around in a an election period, you're gonna get intentionally overwhelmed, and they're gonna intentionally force you to make decisions that you're not clearly thinking about. And then they like to package stuff into bundles of confusion. So the Constitution should have been um, revamped. I say decades ago, but nobody's gonna touch that because that would expose a whole lot of shit. That's why it would expose a whole lot of BS. And understand that it's just a lot of spinning that goes on into a lot of these ordinances, these so-called uh, violations and this and that and the other. You know, so this is going to take a lot of time. Anybody thinking anything is going to happen with the next election or the following election or the election out of that, you're going to be real disappointed. But, there may be a resurgent. People may decide, hey, enough is enough. And then there's uh, a true revolution, right? A true revolution. So we'll see. I'll keep monitoring, of course, and just as others are. We just monitor. All we can do is monitor and help people to decide and make decisions based on effectively thinking about it on your own and not being coerced, forced, you know, thinking about it. And you'll be surprised how a lot of people are not thinking, or maybe not. All right. So I'm going to send peace and love.